We are looking at the book talk outline, the menu/outline, for the second time. Yesterday I said at this point you probably should have been able to go in and complete the mandatory intro. Should be enough to have the title, the author, the genre, the year of publication. Again, for similar books, I would go ahead and look up goodreads.com and type in your book, and it'll spit out some similar books, but maybe if you know some similar books, great. Now, maybe you haven't done the overall rating yet because you don't know enough about it. You might be able to say who you would who you would recommend this to and why. Other boys, other girls, for history buffs, for those that love sports, etc. And then obviously you're going to have a sentence in there that says, okay, ladies and gentlemen watching this video, there are spoilers ahead. Okay, so you should be able to do the mandatory parts. If you scroll to the very bottom, you should have also been able to rephrase those mandatory parts. Here, you're literally just typing in the author and the title again. Prediction, probably don't know that yet. Maybe you know why you like the book. You're just restating it. Again, once you have that rating, you're going to put it in here. You probably already know who you think would like this book and why, and you're going to put it in here, but you might not know this part yet. So you should have been able to fill out, half of the conclusion and almost all of the mandatory intro. I would think at this point you could also fill out the exposition. This is just the beginning. What happens in the beginning of the book? You have read at least, now if you've had me all year, you know I've been talking about this book talk all year long, and I gave you time to read. Even if you're just reading a book now for the first time, you've got time to read the book. I'm giving you time. I'm giving you even more time today, Friday. But you should be able to probably type in the exposition. That is, where is the book set? Who are some of the characters? What is happening on those first initial pages of the book? How does it start? Maybe if you're far enough ahead, you've noticed some of the complications and the problems that start to happen. That's the rising action. Other things you might be able to fill out already. The protagonist? Who are the main characters? What do you know about them? What are their likes and dislikes? Are they part of a family? Do they have a problem? Do they have a complex about something? Tell us about that main character. If you've met the antagonizing force, the thing that the main character struggles against, again, it could be a storm, could be a dragon, could be self-doubt, or it could be another character. You could probably put that in. Maybe at this point you're just listing some of the supporting characters, and maybe you come in later to fill it in. You probably know the setting, but maybe not. But these are easily some things that you could fill out today after just reading the book. Maybe you're 30 pages in or something. Maybe you know the conflict the first one. So, what type is it? Is it character versus character? Is it a character versus setting or environment? Is it a character versus self? So what type of conflict is it and what is it? Maybe you know how it becomes complicated. Like maybe the character has a character versus character problem where he doesn't get along with his father, and the complication is his mom is away in business and he has to stay with his dad or something like that. Perhaps you've got a quote. These are easy ones. Something that moves you, something that you like, something that's interesting, something that's well worded. At least you could probably plug in one quote. You can probably set it up, meaning what's going on at the book at that time when the quote is stated. Again, I'm not looking for something dialogue, although it can be dialogue. When I say a quote, it doesn't mean something that is in quote marks. It can be. But again, if you're reading a fiction book and it's in quote marks, it just means dialogue. Someone's talking. A lot of times you want to quote narrative, but you're looking for a word-for-word line or two, maybe 3. That is intriguing or interesting or well-phrased or well-written or is insightful, or you can apply it to your own life, or it's really important in the book. A line or 2 that stands out. I would think you might have come across one. If not, that's something you should be looking for on the way as you go. Maybe you've already been able to make a connection. Text to self, text to world, text to text. Jot that connection down, and remember you got to do 2 things. You got to explain what's happening in the book that you are connecting to, several sentences about that, and then several sentences about you and what it is in your life, or your world, or your city, or what it is in another book that you are making the connection to. Maybe you've already got some inferences or some lingering style questions. Maybe you got a most memorable moment. Now, again, you don't have to do all of these. You're basically having to do the mandatory parts, and then if you do 3 more, meaning menu option 1, menu option maybe 3, and menu option 4, or maybe you pick menu option 5, 4, and 1. That's all you need to do. So I went over several things you could probably enter, but just remember, pick the ones that work for you. Pick the ones you have the most to say about. It's okay right now if you're jotting a few things down in each one, because maybe, just maybe, there's going to be great quotes to come. Maybe, just maybe, you haven't made a connection yet. That is all fine, but at the very least, take some time today to fill out the parts you can, the parts I just went over. Okay, so that as you're reading, you should be putting the book down and filling some of this out. So I just wanted to look at this. I don't want you to delay this to the end. You should be able to do little parts along the way. So if you want to kind of give yourself an assignment, at this point, mandatory intro should basically be done. At this point, the mandatory conclusion, I'd say about half of that should be done. At this point, I would think you'd been able to do the exposition part of the plot, and then probably some story elements, and then it'll be up to you. Like I said, maybe you can already name a conflict, maybe you already have a quote picked out, or maybe you've already got a connection. Perhaps there's some inferences you can make, or you're talking about the writing style. You should be able to get some of this done. Again, when all is said and done, all you have to do is the mandatory parts, and if you're shooting for the full 20 points, you have to pick 3 other menu options, meaning either menu option 1 is a choice, menu option 2 is a choice, menu option 3 is a choice, 4, and 5. Those are your menu option choices, okay? All right, guys, if you have questions, let me know. Today is the day to work on this, as well as, I know you're probably getting sick of it, but make sure you've got those flashcards down. Make sure you have sent to Mrs. Reeve your score on that Quizlet quiz, and then the rest of the times for reading, see Moodle for the rest. Email me or Mrs. Reeve if you have questions, and we'll see you Monday, which is the next live conference. So live conference number 2 will come Monday the 20th, right there. Today is the 17th. And again, that's at 9 in the morning, 9 to 9:45 for ELA 1. If you can't make it, I'm posting the recordings. The recordings, it takes a while to upload and to convert, but I'd say the recordings should be there by noon on Monday if you were unable to attend. And again, all I'm doing Mondays, like you know if you watched last Monday, all I'm doing is basically looking at the next week's stuff. So this past Monday, we looked at all of this. Next Monday, we'll look at all the stuff for week 2 so that everybody knows what's going on. All right, take care, gang.